ladies. My name is Manca Razboršek, and I am a life coach and mentor for women who wants to activate their feminine essence, enjoy in their life, and inspire others in everyday life. And today I would like to share with you my story of how I become this mentor for women and how I came to know this body of work that I'm teaching. It all started in 2012 when I decided to leave corporate world. I was working as an HR manager for already 10 years, and I was employed in one management consulting company, and I was not happy. And circumstances demanded from me that I decided what will I do in my life. I felt that in that position I could reach to achieve anything I wanted. So in a way it was not interesting for me anymore. And I decided to quit the job and open a store with Bach essences, aura soma, color therapy, and I was already working as an angel therapist, so that was also a logical way of continuing my career. But now not anymore as an HR specialist, but as an entrepreneur. And of course, getting into entrepreneurial world was not something I was prepared for, despite my MBA diploma and my 10 years of experience in HR management. So I started to search for solutions. I started to search for knowledge to help me succeed in entrepreneurial world. And I came across one therapist. We did a sort of heart healing to help me with my beliefs about how can I do my business. And at the end of the session he said to me, but with you I don't feel any feminine energy. And I looked at him, what do you mean you don't feel any feminine energy? I am a woman, so I should have feminine energy. And he said, no, you don't. And I was like, what do you mean I don't? And he said, okay, go into your feminine essence. And I was looking at him, go where? And he said, into your feminine essence. And I was like, where is that? And he said, you will figure out. So a couple of weeks later, my brother introduced us to his new girlfriend. And while we were talking over Skype, she told me about this body of work she is doing and this exercise she is doing by the Rachel Jane Groover. So I started to work this exercise. I really did it every day. It was something that is usually I do 2-3 days, 4 days, and then I quit. But this was something that I was doing every day. And after 2 weeks, I realized while I was walking that my body moves differently. So at that moment I figured out, wow, this is something special. I went on internet and watched all the videos Rachel Jane had published. I read her book and I decided still not enough, I want more. So I signed up for her Art of Feminine Presence teacher course, went to Netherlands at that time and started to become a teacher. So I started to teach women in Slovenia how to be in their feminine essence, how to activate their yin, and then I upgraded it into authentic self. So now I'm teaching women how to be in their authentic energy. So this information about this work helped not only me personally, but now it helped to hundreds and hundreds of women in Slovenia to be more in their feminine energy, to understand themselves more, to live more easy. Because now it's not just this work that I do. I then combined it also with the Tantra, with Tao, with all the information I could find about masculine and feminine energy, masculine and feminine essence. So I would really like to introduce you to this gorgeous woman who is, for me, not just sister-in-law now, but also a real heart sister. So hello all the beautiful ladies that are watching, and maybe some brave men out there. This is Elsa Razboršek, the wonderful woman I've been telling you about. So I will ask you, Elsa, to introduce yourself the way you like to be introduced.
Okay. Well, I'm Elsa Razboršek, as Manca said, and I'm a women's empowerment coach. Prior to that, I was a corporate woman, and my journey of discovering the feminine and the whole personal development field was because I was trying to sort out my own life when I was working in corporate. So a few years back, I decided to turn that work into my main career. So I quit my corporate career, and now I've been a coach now for 2 years, full time. Yeah.
So what really brought you to start studying the feminine presence and feminine essence and all this feminine, masculine energies?
Yeah, that was actually a very interesting journey because I was working in London. I was an investment banker, and my life looked perfect from the outside. I had this glamorous career living in London, but in the inside I was really, really miserable, and specifically in my personal life things were just not working. So I started researching pretty much anything about relationships and the whole men are from Mars and women are from Venus and all those things. Got into also yoga and yogic traditions, and I tried multiple things, but I didn't seem to be going very far. And until I actually came across this work about the feminine, that's actually when things really shift. And the interesting thing is, it was actually my mom who got me into it, so to speak, because she kept telling me, I was having all these relationship problems, and she kept telling me, you need to act like a lady. I was like, I'm a lady, I dress in beautiful dresses and I behave, what are you talking about? I just didn't get it. But once I started Googling, about what does it mean to be feminine, what does it mean to be a lady, that's when I discovered this feminine presence body of work. And once I started applying, things shifted very fast. So obviously you know this already. We're sisters-in-law. Actually, very quickly I met your brother, which is literally the man of my dreams. And within 14 months we moved in together, got married, had a baby. So the whole package. So amazing work.
Before I said that actually you are the person responsible in a way that hundreds of women in Slovenia are now more feminine, because actually you told me then about this body of work, and I started to teach women in Slovenia, and so now a lot of women in Slovenia actually have to be grateful that my brother went to study and that he met you and so on. So this is really good. But one thing that is very interesting, because before you said that you were in corporate work.
Yes.
Also I was in corporate work, so I know what it means. But would you say that a lot of women in the corporate world have this same problem?
Yes, and especially the more masculine the environment is. So I actually have a background in engineering, men's school, and then I went into investment banking. Very manly dominated environment. It's quite fast paced, quite aggressive. And what I have found, I didn't know that back then, but in order to succeed in that environment, we don't have a lot of role models of feminine women who succeed. So what do? We see what the men are doing, and we take on very masculine behaviors. Even if we are dressed in beautiful clothes, looking like a lady, just the way we assert ourselves becomes very masculine. And what I found is that I was emasculating the men in my life. Whoa, we have a church bell confirming that. So that's what I found. And I find that a lot of women have relationship problems in corporate, because again they're very much in their masculine without even realizing it, and then they don't have sexy polarity in their relationships. I've also presented workshops at engineering companies that have like 80% men in the workforce, and this is a topic that is ladies are all over it because they realize how important it is to create a good dynamic in their relationships.
This is also I would say that it's the same in all the cultures, because now you live in Netherlands.
Yes.
You are originally from Portugal, where we are now, and you lived in London. So would you say that are there many differences, or is this similar or same in all these cultures?
Yeah, it's hard to me to say for Portugal, because I never actually worked in Portugal. I worked in France, and I worked in London, and then I worked in the Netherlands. I would say from what I've seen in the Netherlands and in London, yes, I see women being very much in their masculine. But again, maybe I'm biased because in London I worked in investment banking, and in the Netherlands I worked in oil and gas. Again, very masculine industries.
Would you say
Yeah.
that it is possible to work in that environment but with the feminine energy?
I would say so, but it needs being conscious about it. Because again, most of the role models we have, they're masculine. So it's very easy to just default into being in a very masculine kind of vibe. So it requires a woman being very grounded in her feminine in order to succeed in that. And actually, I was able to do that when I was working in oil and gas, because this was post discovering the whole body of work, and I was already using that, and I was pretty successful in that too. Just didn't want to do it anymore.
Okay, so I
Yeah.
think that this is something that a lot of women, I would say all over Europe, can also relate to. Because actually the masculine environment is masculine environment regardless of the country where you work. Also in Slovenia, it's the same situation, because the business world is very masculine oriented. So
Yeah.
if you want to do it more feminine style, really you have to be yourself, you have to be your authentic self, and you have to be aware of your feminine essence. And then also what I am discovering, the way of doing it the feminine way, it's a little different. It's more with cooperation. It's a little more soft, but it doesn't mean that has worse results.
Yes.
My experience shows with some CEOs that I've been working that they even have better results because of the magnetism and everything that feminine essence can provide, actually.
Yeah, and it's actually very interesting because, and I've seen it when I was working investment banking. Every now and then the firm would ship these super successful women who were partners at the firm from New York, and they would come and they looked very gray and they looked very tired. And I think it is possible for a woman to be successful being in her masculine, but over the long run it becomes very draining because it's not our nature. And what I found with this work about the feminine is it doesn't mean that we are not assertive, but we are so in a much much more receptive way as well, and again being more intuitive as well in terms of the way we manage relationships. So I found that it's less tiring.
Yeah.
But about the differences in nationalities, very interestingly, from all the places that where I've lived and worked, where I find women are still very much in their feminines in France. And interestingly enough, there's this allure about the feminine, the woman in France, like. Across cultures, people have this idea that the French woman is very sexy and she's very alluring. And what I found is that, interestingly enough, they are very much in their feminine. So I believe there is a connection there.
Okay. Actually, we can talk about this for hours.
Oh, yeah.
Which we usually do. So, but for now, I think we gave you a taste of how two feminine coaches can really find the way from corporate into coaching and teaching about this also the other women. So I hope you enjoyed our conversation, and I hope we will make some more.
Yeah, wonderful. And today from sunny Portugal. So,
Yes.
hola.
Yeah, bye.
Ciao.